my god.
Oh, the Rain of Vengeance getting so many people. Give me nothing to do that. Quick into the ball prison as well. The Black Dog is ready for it. He goes down and the Rain of Vengeance but it might not be enough. Core is on 50%. Vortex is getting CC.
All right, welcome back here to the DreamHack All-Stars Winter Clash for Heroes of the Storm, as we are about to get into our second series of the day here from Group A. Some familiar faces on camera right now, if you're a ex-StarCraft guy, as well as, you know, these guys have been around for quite a while in Heroes of the Storm already. We're going to have ROCCAT going up against mYi. A lot of Germans available here, Kendrick. I'm sure you're pretty happy.
I am very happy right now. So, yeah, mYi, you know, they got the old team from Spartanian, and ever since, they have really had good results, you know. They've been beating a lot of the teams. Dignitas, even during the Frag Bike Masters, they went third place over there, and I think they have a lot of talent, a lot of promise, but also some old veterans. Like Nurok, he's been playing for Dignitas way back then, and has ever since been a part of the community, you know. Really good.
I went to talk to them a little bit earlier, and they seem to be in very good spirits. It's funny, actually, they have very difficult names to cast. I think you guys are going to struggle. So it's Blumby, Wooby, Crosby. We got Grubby over here, and then New Rock and Dark Muck.
Yeah.
Good luck, have fun.
New Rock, Dark Muck.
They've got a theme going on there. There can't be, like, no coincidence.
As long as you followed ATN for a little while, I'm sure you'll be okay. They're not too bad in that regard. Nurok previously had been on Kingwin as well, so he definitely has been around for a very, very long time. He has. But then on the other side, of course, you've got a team like Team ROCCAT, who have had the most ridiculous recoveries in the past that we have ever seen. Everybody can always think back to things like them going up against Gamers 2 in one of the Europe Opens for BlizzCon.
Oh yeah, that last game. A lot of money with just one very tiny instant in a game.
Yeah,
and
it was
insane
like
recovery.
0 keeps against 6 forts, and they were like down a level or two, and then on that single map, they just took it back and won a lot of money.
The tornadoes, man. It's funny, I tried to talk about this with G2 last time in Prague, and they were like, no, we don't talk about this ever.
Too soon.
We don't mention this.
Too soon forever.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, ROCCAT, they went into some restructuring of their own, having had a few lineup changes in the past. Now they only kept, I guess, from Prague or from the recent events, they only kept Hazup, Soke, of course, the original two, Sport Billy, and Grand Paquete joined them, as well as Red X. So 2 Spanish players in place of Chris and Shadowmare.
Yeah, before we actually get a little bit more in depth here with mYi and ROCCAT, we can actually take a look at the brackets so far here for Group A and update you as to what has happened at the moment, if you're just joining us here. So far, Team Dignitas has been able to propel themselves forwards against TCM, and now that means that, obviously, Team Dignitas are in the winners, and we have TCM down towards the losers, and now we're going to be going over to that Team ROCCAT versus mYi matchup, which, again, you know, I think this is going to be quite an interesting one overall here, with mYi having garnered a lot of respect from the top-tier teams here in Europe because they play their own brand of heroes. They play a very aggressive style, and we've heard it from teams like Dignitas before. If you are not paying 100% attention against a team like mYi, you're going to get bowled over.
Yeah, very much against aggressive styles like that, you need experience playing against it.
Yes.
So Team Dignitas, they said they got that kind of scrims with them, right? And it's the unknown force in Team Liquid, who they haven't played with, that gives them more fear. But if you haven't played against mYi, that kind of aggressive style, it's going to take some time to recover, and you may not have enough time in a best of 3 to do so.
And on the other side here for Team ROCCAT, obviously they've had roster changes themselves. They've now got Red X and they've got Grand Paquete over Shadowmare and somebody else who was on the team before.
Chris.
There you go, Chris, who's over on Team Liquid now. So this is very interesting because for me, Grand Paquete was one of the best, if not for a long time, the best support in Europe.
Absolutely. I mean, being a support main myself, I can't express how much respect I have for Grand Paquete. I mean, Bakery is taking over a little bit now. A lot of people have focused on him. But I remember back a couple of months ago when Grand Paquete built a Rhaegar build with featuring, Rewind at level 20 and going for all the chain heal build. pardon me.
One of my favorite builds of all time.
Favorite builds ever. And so ROCCAT really has what it takes to be one of those innovators, to be a very strong force to be reckoned with once more.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it's the thing about ROCCAT though is, you mentioned how you need to know the style of mYinsanity. They're past StarCraft, Warcraft players. If there is anybody that's a veteran in the scene and that knows how to study opponents and that knows how to show up on the day of the tournament with the proper counter of what they are doing, it's definitely them.
Yeah, I mean, in the games that they played, it was even more important to know what your opponent was doing than just bringing your own game all the time. Like it's a countering game in StarCraft 2, and in Warcraft 3, the strategies took the shape of build orders. It was also very important to know what the opponents were doing. And that would be very useful, because if we all know that mYinsanity is aggressive, then of course so does ROCCAT, and they'll probably have a comprehensive counter plan to come up against that.
No, indeed. And just to update you guys on the schedule as well as to what's going to be going on here between Groups A and Groups B. So far, we've already concluded our first. We will be moving on to ROCCAT versus mYinsanity. And then later on, if you're waiting for Group B, those games will happen a little later down the lane. The schedule is indeed updated, as our first series did take a little while. So thank you very much, the production fantastic team of DreamHack, for keeping us well on the ball here with everything that is going down. Now, I want to kind of go back to what we were seeing here from ROCCAT, or what we potentially would see from ROCCAT, is, for me, there's a parallel with how TCM play. ROCCAT in the past have played very, very methodically, very slowly, with high sustainability. Is there something that ROCCAT could benefit from in similar drafts here, going up against this very aggressive style? Could we see a repeat of our previous series, in essence?
I think they can definitely learn a lot from the previous series that we've seen. I mean, in the first game, TCM excelled with that late game team composition, right? A lot of protection, a lot of stalling and delaying the enemy from getting to you. And I think that would fit ROCCAT's playstyle as well. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a very long, dragged-out game one.
There is always a very few different ways to approach your opponent's game plan, depending on what it is. So if you know that mYinsanity likes to play aggressive, likes to play with a lot of crowd control, stun lock, you can try to steal it away from them, or you can build a composition that you think is going to deal very well with it, as opposed, because I think it'd be very hard to try and do both at the same time. So you need to pick one route and stick with it.
And the cool thing about all these stunts, it's very cooldown oriented. Like during all the first time that those spells hit, you have this huge power spike where kills are likely to follow, but if they don't, everyone's stun is off of cooldown, and something that has sustain and defense will be able to kill them back, even if the comp doesn't look that deadly to begin with. Just by them staying alive and not dying, you will win. So with you mentioning that ROCCAT is methodical, and you know that mYinsanity is going to be aggressive, purely a good defense will be enough to win every fight. Like, it's different if you've got two teams kind of in a Western showdown, like who will attack first. You know they're going to attack, then you will win just by defending, which, well, I like that kind of style a lot, to just defend and then win, basically, but just having good defense. You don't even have to think like, oh, how shall we move in? It makes it a lot simpler in a way.
Quite an important factor is going to the map here, or the battleground that we're going to be facing on, right? So if ROCCAT manages to get a larger battleground, like Garden of Terror, for instance, or Sky Temple, I think they're going to have a much easier time to, survive this onslaught that mYinsanity might pull out or might not pull out.
Yeah, because depending on the map, then the objectives obviously will be different, and then playing defensive can be less realistic on certain maps. So I think they probably, like, you have a very good point, and they will probably need to adjust their game plan and probably have different game plans on the various maps in terms of properly countering their opponents. And it's going to start, obviously, with the draft as well and map selection.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then on the other side of ROCCAT, of course, we've talked about ROCCAT quite a bit here, but an unknown commodity is Red X. He has played on ATM before, yes, so he does have professional experience at a high level, but not really proper LAN experience. Is that something that can kind of play a factor here?
Yes, undoubtedly. It depends if he's the nervous kind. Like, a lot of players, they have trouble reproducing the same level of skill at a LAN that they have from practice games. But some people, it just magically goes okay the first time. They're wondering like, oh, I don't know what all the fuss is about. I don't know enough about him which way he's likely to veer, actually. For Soccer and Hassops, you expect him actually to play a little bit better here because they're like old dogs. They don't get nervous from practice anymore, you know?
Not at all.
They will wait here to peak. But for some people, it's like they're winning scrims and they're excited about it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just a scrim, bro. And then like they're already nervous, but then here they have like nervous overload. So I don't know exactly what is going to be the case yet for Redix.
I think Redis, he's also been around for quite some time in Heroes of the Storm. So he's probably been watching a lot of the tournaments that took place, probably thinking, I should be there. It should be me next time. So there's two possibilities here. First, he knew he should be here, so he's not going to be nervous. It's finally happening. He's playing his best. All goes well. Second, he's finally here, and it hits him how big this is. Like, you know, how big a tournament like this is. All of these great players, they're here as well. He gets really nervous, and in this case, it might be bad for him. Then again, some people, they play better from being nervous.
Yes.
They don't really let it like properly get to them and make them play worse. So I guess we'll see. We'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah. The other players, the Crosby and Wubby and Blomby, I meet them a lot on Hero League.
Yeah.
Like when I'm
Yeah,
streaming,
yeah.
when I'm solo queuing.
They're playing a lot of games.
And Crosby, he was actually playing Azmodan way before it was cool. And I thought he was trolling me, you know. He's on stream, he's trolling his team, or just wants to play some other heroes. But before we even saw it coming out of the NA meta, he was playing Azmodan already with that stacking build. And yeah, so he's been playing heroes for a very long time already as well, at least a year.
Did you win more or did he win more?
No, he was often on my team, so
Oh, okay.
of course we win.
Okay.
Well, don't forget, guys, as well, you can also join in. Getting yourself a Cho'Gall, basically. Tomorrow at 6 p.m, if you tune in, you are guaranteed, with also abandoning your Battle.net account to Twitch as well, to gain yourself Cho'Gall. You can also tweet us with hashtag DreamHackPlaysHeroes for your chance to get it a little bit earlier. And if you do bind yourself the account later on, you are guaranteed to get it for December the 4th. So
There you go,
Cho'Gall's
guaranteed by Kailars.
there you go, the guarantee. The Kyle Lowry's guarantee is here. It didn't quite work out before, but yeah, maybe later on down the line. Aside from that, though, we do have our players here that are ready to get into this game pretty soon here between mYinsanity and Team ROCCAT. We've talked about them extensively here and looked at how they're probably going to match up with one another. I don't see it going too much difference down the line with how we've kind of predicted going on. But one thing's for sure is a lot of teams are very, very scared of mYinsanity. Recently been picked up by mYinsanity just before.
They're making a lot of noise, for sure.
Yeah, and they have a big organization behind them, backing them. I mean, they have their own shoutcaster, Nomi, who especially some of the German players might know. So they even took the old manager from Team Spartanian with them.
Yeah.
So they have a really professional background behind them. And it's going to be really good. Yes, and they have had good results in the past. I mean, beating Team Dignitas in the Frag Bite Masters is no easy feat to achieve.
And they will play them here. They beat ROCCAT in the winners match, so definitely would try and look to repeat that performance here. They could.
And here we have Crosby as well. We previously had Wubby, who was before on Team Fnatic, and is currently a sub in, but one would suspect that at the moment, considering their performances, he may become a full fixture.
Well, Wubby was actually manager for Navi, then he went and played for Fnatic. Like, it's that guy. He's
And he was
done a little bit of
support,
everything.
and then he was damaged.
I remember when he was the manager, everyone was like, well, okay, he's probably one of the best Kerrigans in the world. Why is he being a manager and not playing? So, and he definitely kind of brings it. He's a very, very good player. And of course, here we round down our mYinsanity team with Nurok.
Nurok, one of the older dogs, as Grubby said. I mean, he's been part of the scene for a very long time, streams regularly, and it would make me very happy to see such an experienced player finally get the team that he deserves.
Yeah, and right now they're on form. They are flying.
In the team now, and will the results be what mYinsanity deserves? That's the question now. Lots of hope riding on them. mYinsanity being known for picking up players, both people that are still to grow, like talent growing squads, as well as already established players. Like, for instance, in StarCraft 2, taking Stardust after his rise to fame.
That's true. And Rain as well.
Rain as well.
But here we go over to Team ROCCAT now with the newest member of their roster, Grand Paquete, who we know is actually a 3-time champion of DreamHack. So he is no stranger to this stage.
Azuops, a 4-time CEPS champion.
Wrong game, buddy.
Multiple winner across multiple games. Let's just leave it at that, a veteran.
Maybe the EPS or the Meisterschaft comes to the Heroes of the Storm.
You love that word, don't you?
I love that word. I love saying that.
That's Sport Billy right there.
Yes, it is.
Who's a little bit of a flex. Can play various classes. He's usually a lot on Lyric duty. now that Lyric's been changed, we still saw him in our first match here.
Yeah.
Are we still
And
going to
his
see
role
him
changed
bring
a
it
little
up?
bit ever since Grant Paquetti entered the roster,
Yes.
right? Because he used to play a lot of support. Great Uther, great Karazim as well, but you know, Grant Paquetti is here to do what he does best, and that is supporting. So Sport Billy had to do a little bit of adjusting here. Now we have Redix,
Yes.
the
newer
newcomer.
newer member. But I think one
The
thing that he
X-factor.
has, one thing he has as his comfort is that he is Spanish as well. So when he came along with Gran Paquete onto the roster, at least he has a little bit of familiarity to kind
He
of
looks
go
a little
with
bit nervous, though. We talked about this. He didn't look very
He
comfortable
just took
here.
off his headset and
Yeah,
put
but-
it back on again.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
no
sign
smile. No smile and intense face.
Yeah.
Soccer always looks like this. He's actually happy right now. He's like a version of me.
I mean,
Our
Soccer
heroes.
was basically a metal singer, so yeah, it's really, that's how intense.
I mean, he does have an amazing voice when you hear interviews with him. I mean, I get
It's very
goosebumps
smooth.
deliberately, yeah.
Yeah.
He is the true German metal rocker. That is Soccer right there. And no
ETC.
surprises, he plays things like ETC and Arthas. Surprise,
Yeah.
surprise. So there you go. That is Soccer. But one thing's for sure is that we've seen ROCCAT for a long time here, and a few of their members now are very long-standing with Soccer, with Hasuobs, with Sport Billy, and they've been on this stage many a time as well, alongside people like Grand Paquette.
Soccer and Hazu are going to play together till the bitter end, man.
Yes.
I was going to say that they are in a very similar spot to Team Liquid, right? Team Liquid, after losing a couple of members, they remained the core, which was Vortex and Lucifron. Same with ROCCAT. They did a little bit of reformation, but stayed with Hasuobs and Socket. So why couldn't they rebuild a new team that is there to shine? I think they can totally have the potential.
I've got to ask you guys, before going into the drafts, without seeing any drafts or anything like that, looking at the form that these two teams are currently at, how are you thinking that this is going to go? Are you on the mYinsanity hype train here, or do you think that the kind of stability of ROCCAT is going to win out?
I think mYinsanity will probably win quite handily based on the information here. I think if anything, if ROCCAT would like to take it, they may need the loser bracket to go back against them to recover from the reeling shock. So I'm thinking maybe mYinsanity 2-0.
I think it's going to be a 2-1 for mYinsanity, with ROCCAT making a comeback in Game 2. But I think overall, mYinsanity is just too much on a roll right now to be stopped entirely.
I completely disagree. I think it's so easy to jump. It's so easy to jump on the hype train of like the newer team that's doing really well.
Yes.
Hazu and Soke have been here forever. They're a team we overlook every single time they're playing in the tournament. In the Major League, we overlook them. They always end up going deep. European regionals for the road to BlizzCon. The Europe Open, actually online, they won one, took second in the other one, like massive results, and then at the finals as well, had a pretty good result. So I'm gonna go for ROCCAT all the way 2-1 though.
2-1.
I'll give some
Oh,
respect
okay.
to my insanity.
All right,
Not
then.
quite a 2-0.
Taking it easy there.
I love the disagreement. Let's get into our draft here for game number 1, as we have ROCCAT going up against mYinsanity. It's going to be Abathur banned because, surprise, surprise, EU really likes and also dislikes Abathur at the same time.
Yeah, and they're playing on Cursed Hollow. So it might actually not a bad map for Team ROCCAT to stabilize first and you play safe and maybe get a first tribute or a second one. So I really think that they have what it takes in terms of maps. Now they just need to pick accordingly and analyze the draft that mYinsanity is going to bring to the table.
I haven't seen Cursed Hollow today yet, but the bans are very similar, with showing that these heroes are not just good on a few maps, they're just really good in general. Tassadar are going to get picked first. Wow.
It feels so weird to see Tassadar back up there, you know, in terms of like first band, first pick material, or being picked so early in this draft. It really like brings us back to the very start. That BlizzCon that there was 2 years ago when Tassadar was like, prioritized so many times.
Was it 2 years or 1 year ago?
Well, I mean,
1 year ago.
yeah,
One and a bit
technically,
years ago.
yeah. Two BlizzCons ago.
That's the better way of going with it. All right, 2 picks here for mYinsanity. Do they continue down that aggressive path? They could easily go for an ETC and, well...
ETC Kael'thas was pretty solid. Used to be Muradin Kael'thas all the time. ETC kind of overtaking Muradin's primary stunner initiation role there.
But Muradin, I would say, still definitely number 2, or battling for that top position right now.
Though we have barely seen him. Of course, he got banned once in the previous series. Tyrael fulfills a very different role than Muradin, so if you need a Tyrael, take a Tyrael.
And
the reason why I like a Muradin ban every once and then is especially because, there we go. Yeah. So Muradin is a little bit harder to predict than an ETC, right? ETC goes in with power slide, usually follows up with a mosh pit eventually. If you're a good player like Ethereal Angel in the previous series, you just wait a little bit until everything's gone. But Mirrodin, very hard to predict.
So far, it's looking like everything we theorized. My Insanity going for the stun lock, aggression, crowd control, and ROCCAT going for the more defensive approach with Tassadar, vision, shields, sustain.
So if they keep that up, what would be next? Maybe Tyrael, maybe
Uther. Yeah, I think Uther. Picking Uther away from their opponents.
Yeah.
Since they don't particularly want to ban it.
I mean, what you say is kind of a cool idea. I love the idea of Tyrael Uther going invincible, like, for the entire time.
Stun that!
And then just never dying. This would be very difficult for my Insanity to deal with. I mean, yes, they have the opportunity early on in the game right now to have very good rotation stuns where they need them, but later on, it could fall off.
Has Tyrael lost a game yet?
Here?
In this tournament?
I mean, we're not many in, to be fair.
Yeah.
from all the games played thus far.
Yes, because it was picked by TCM in the second game and lost.
Oh, okay.
So, well done, Tyrael.
But the execution was bad.
The BlizzCon dream is not
Doesn't
there.
count.
But there we go.
It doesn't
see
count when you play it bad.
We see a Jaina coming in there.
Yeah.
Jaina, you know, one of those most reliable heroes in the game. She's good in almost any team comp.
Yeah.
It's a very safe pick. You don't really reveal too much of your team comp for the rest of the draft. And the burst damage that she has, not only in single target, but also in AoE, most importantly, is very strong and should never be underestimated.
She's not necessarily an aggressive hero. Slowing down the enemy's movement is good for defense too.
They prioritize ETC over something like Uther here, or even TRL.
Well, the thing is that I think, do you not think they had to pick a warrior there, considering the next ban phase was going to come in and they could have been extremely limited?
Yeah, probably.
Take the cow before it's getting eliminated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can even play ETC with a build that we haven't like 100% seen yet, where you very heavily emphasize on disengage and peel.
Yes.
Where you take the level 7 face smell talent, you take, well, it's called different, but you take it at 13, 80% disintegrating slow, even maybe the repeat pushback at 16.
Loudspeakers.
The loudspeakers.
I love that one. It leaves the little speaker there, it's bouncing up and down for a moment.
It's not that great, but like, no, do that if you want to
cute.
protect an area.
All right, second band's coming in here for my Insanity. Looking over the other side, I mean, we have a little bit of support, some damage, and a warrior.
No healer has been banned or picked here just yet in this draft, so if my Insanity, they're gonna have the next two picks here after these two bans.
They could ban Uther?
Yeah, if they don't want to pick or they don't want their opponents to have it.
I mean,
Could be a
also
good idea.
denying the Divine Shield mosh pit combo could be quite significant there. But
Oh, they could go
okay.
in. Maybe that's a sign that they want to go into a more heavy warrior composition.
yeah.
Maybe like a Sonya or an Ubera.
Double or triple, it's definitely possible.
They may want to go for something like a heavy melee assassin, because the thing is that Reina recently, with his auto-attack build, is less popular than the repeating shot on the penetrating shot.
Double barrel.
Which then would knock them back and then keep them away. So there is the potential of that as well.
We don't really see melee assassins anymore. That's a very good point. We haven't really talked about that. Uther gets banned here by ROCCAT themselves. They want to make sure that my Insanity doesn't have more stun, and in this case, the Divine Shield as well.
If they didn't ban Uther now, my Insanity could take Sonya and Uther, and that would be like such a great team already.
Sonya's a great choice.
Yeah.
Because they've banned out the Reina. I mean, that
It's
would be
still
very
great,
ideal.
but it would be like the dream with Uther, right?
Yes, indeed, indeed.
They might even consider a triple warrior comp here with Sonya Tyrael. I mean, Kel'Thas usually is good enough as a solo assassin to follow up from behind.
Sonya is an assassin as well, basically.
Yeah.
Grubby,
Yeah.
you do it again.
everyone.
It was
makes
a
sense.
joint effort.
Who do we see now?
Tyrael could work.
Do you not think they want to take a healer here? So the ROCCAT, I mean, yeah, they have their two picks, but
but
they
like,
want to get their choice
Right
of
now,
healer.
it's not as much as having a reactionary pick as setting the pace in the draft and picking what they think is better for themselves. Here, I think, for
There
my
are no more
Insanity.
semi-support, semi-damage dealers, so it would have to be Tyrael if you want any extra support than just the single healer.
Yeah.
So Tyrael, very strong argument. If we're just considering others, it could be a warrior that disables something, which is like damage mitigation. A Nubarak.
Karazim for me
It's
was
a bit
nice.
crazy.
Oh, wait, it will be
But
the
it is-
Tyrael.
There we go.
Grubby.
It is Tyrael. Guys.
It works. It works. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And now, you know, they do have that very, very aggressive potential. Tyrael Sanctification has worked really, really well with melee assassins, but Sonya being here, she's basically an assassin. So,
Tyrael
Maybe
probably
all of
one of the
HP.
most diverse heroes that we have. And let's not forget about the battleground. Cursed Hollows has a lot of narrow choke points.
Oh.
And,
Falstad.
there we go.
blow them away. get gone.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that the holy, pardon me, the 16 talent material, holy ground, there we go, is very good to cut people off on these narrow choke points around the tribute area. So even for a boss steal, boss steal on Cursed Hollow, could happen.
I would argue it's Tyrael's best map in that regard for all of those choke points for the double boss steal.
With this much interrupts from mYinsanity, does ETC maybe go for... No? No? You won't even let me say it? Oh, actually, no, they're going to fast that in Brightwing for global presence. Who needs stage dive when you have fast that in Brightwing?
It could be a triple keep rush.
No.
But on the other side, on a more serious note, shields for days, right? Brightwing and Tassadar is a composition that we've seen a lot in the European scene, particularly from Gamers 2, or G2 even, I should say, where they have so many shields to keep them alive. And Karazim will round it out. We kind of hit all of those points before.
Single warrior ETC at the front. Are we going to see the 7-sided strike here?
Oh, it makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
They also don't need the support.
I thought you were going to say no again.
For a triple warrior, yeah. I mean, those will keep themselves very much so alive with just Circle of Healing alone, right? So that could definitely work out.
Circle of Healing?
Is it? No, it's not called Circle of Healing.
Circle of Life.
Hearthstone.
No, what's
Circle of Life?
Circle of Life is the talent at level 16.
Oh, you're talking about...
Why can't I remember the name of the heal?
Echo of Heaven.
No. Oh, you are trolling. you are a mean person.
Wow, great.
Anyway, yes, Karazim will have a lot of sustain for them all. They're all very clumped up, easily healed during all of this. But a triple warrior coming out with Sonya, 2.5 warriors, let's say.
Yeah, great comp for mYinsanity, but it's quite cool to have Mighty Gust and Emerald Wind against it, don't you think, Killaris?
You could, in theory, go
Yeah,
that way.
absolutely.
Guaranteed?
No. There's no Kyle stamp of guarantee on that one.
It could work, though.
I would love to see that. I mean, back in the days, Emerald Wind used to actually be a thing. Just remember Stitches back in the days, Gorge, Emerald Wind.
I mean,
just think, power slide in, and just like that, Brightwing teleports on him with the Z, and then Emerald wins everyone.
the funny thing is with the numbers that actually you get out of Tassadar now, with his shields, with Kala's Embrace at level 7, potentially leeching Plasma at level 4, you could get away with Emerald Wind.
You know, you denied the possibility of a stage dive very quickly when I mentioned it, but if you look at the lineup from mYinsanity with, I guess, Sonya, Muradin, and Kael'thas, that's quite a bit of interrupt potential for ETC's mosh pit. So do you still go for it, or?
I don't know, like, what stage dive achieves being the single warrior. The mosh pit is still a threat, even
more
if they
global
need to...
presence.
Even more.
Yeah, actually, like, that really went out the window, I feel, when they added the Brightwing at the end.
Yeah, you started that before Brightwing came out. There we go.
Well, it makes a lot of sense here for that global presence on a map like Cursed Hollow, where soaking is very important, and obviously fighting those tributes is important as well. That's why we see Abathur banned out. That's why we've seen Vikings in the past. But for now, we are going to be getting into game number 1 here between Team ROCCAT and mYinsanity, as we have Grubby and Kendrick. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Killaris. So finally, we're in the action here on Cursed Hollow. On the left side, in the blue colors, we have Crosby on the Kael'thas, Lumbi on the Muradin, and then we have Wooby, of course, riding here the Karazim. And here we go, Nurok, very nice, playing that Sonya. You know, he's Turiel, pardon me. And there we go, Dark Mark on the Sonya, so he likes to go where the enemy's at. And on the enemy side, we have, of course, Redx here on the Tassadar. Then we have Sport Billy on the Jaina Falstad. Yep, there we go. He's flying in Hasu-ups already. We can't even finish the introduction. The action is already on the way. Very nice, but no real commitment here.
Yeah, of course, we've got ETC here in the mid lane, Sokka on ETC, and at the bottom, Brightwing, going to be played by Grand Paquette. He's trying to block those minions a little bit.
That brings you back to Warcraft 3, right? It's in StarCraft when you're trying to, and Dota and all the other good stuff. And for a long time in Heroes,
I never played Dota, so it was a thing there as well.
Yeah, it was a thing. You want to get them back and deny the enemy from, force them a little bit closer to your towers. So that's actually really nice thing.
Red X gonna get gravity laps there, taking a lot of heat. Wow, going with the shield and dimensional shift. Coming away with just 10% life. Doesn't want to tap a Moonwell yet because he would be out of the fight for a little bit. There's nothing important going on the map. No
Exactly,
objectives, no
exactly.
Murkaps, just Hearthstone.
We'll be in the middle lane here, rocking the Karazim. Karazim not really considered to be a strong solo laner, so you always have to be a little bit passive, and he's doing exactly that, hiding behind the minions here, doesn't really want to commit too hard, and ROCCAT trying to do the exactly same, because they know about the aggressiveness coming from myinsanity's gang squad.
And if you want to be safe, stay mounted, guys. I see a lot of people in random games trying to be safe. They're telling themselves safe. That's the word that's written in their brainwaves, but they're not mounted. They're still attacking minion waves. When you're mounted, it's much easier to dodge incoming ganks.
Yeah.
That little bit of extra mount speed could just be the difference of being safe or not.
There we go, Whoopi and Crossbeat dominating the mid lane so far. ROCCAT getting reinforced by Sport Billy now, though.
Crossbeat,
Very nice.
and there comes Falstad.
Great damage. Falstad flying in here. Where's the hammering? There we go. Slows down the Kel'Thas, and first blood for Team ROCCAT.
Kel'Thas was a little bit far forward, didn't you think? He almost got into tower range.
Absolutely, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. When you're playing a squishy ranged assassin like Kel'Thas, and you know that the enemies are might be on their way with global presence, you don't want to overstep your boundaries, Grubby.
Yeah, you need to keep thinking of the enemy team as being one or two stronger than you actually visually confirm.
Yeah.
Except when you're against the Falstad or the Brightwing.
And now we get to see level 4 talents kicking in, of course. Tassadar going for a shield build thus far. You know, the Leeching Plasma at level 4, very strong to keep allies alive. And the Tribute phase is going to go down. There we go. Nice Blizzard engagement, but it wasn't enough. Both teams are poking right now. Hammering coming out. Darkmod taking a little bit of damage. Karazim doing a very dangerous Radiant Dash here almost, but both teams not really trying to commit here.
Yeah. And that's the problem with the melee composition. You don't really have enough poke. Karazim there with that risky poke. For the rest, it's only Kel'Thas, and he's also the most vulnerable. Now, that is being displayed in the most graphical sense as he gets taken out. Whoopi, can he Radiant Dash to the Murden? He must not have cooldown yet.
Oh, nice dodge here.
Hey.
The Arcane Flare wasn't enough.
You can Radiant Dash on a wall?
I think it was an ally who was standing close to a wall. You can definitely not dash towards buildings.
He Radiant dashed towards an ally, but he didn't get on the same side of the wall as the ally.
I think because there wasn't enough room. That's
so
actually a common phenomenon. Yeah, you
to the right side.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to have enough space left.
Yeah, I just figured there's more space on the left of it, but apparently it's favoritizing the side that he came from.
Yeah, this time it was actually good to save him, but normally it can also cause a lot of trouble. Yeah. There we go. Good Darkmog though. Sonya, a very strong fighter when it comes to clearing mercenary camps. Something that is very often underlooked, but on a map like Cursed Hollow, where you have a lot of opportunities to actually get mercenary camps, it's a very good trade.
Yeah. Now we see ETC also going with the progressive rock talent at level 1. More healing from the guitar solo, which will be combined at level 13 with group healing. Also going for the keep on rocking at level 7, where he has a reduced stun every time he's under the effect of guitar solo.
Do you think he took those talents to keep himself alive better a little bit? Because they don't really have a lot of burst healing, do they? Tassadar, Brightwing, they can shield and heal over time, but no big saves.
He's solo tank, so even if he only took it for himself, progressive rock, it would still make sense. Except then usually you might as well take block.
Yeah.
But this one combines well with the 13, so.
All right, so we got the Siege Giant pushing in.
The Eldritch Might preparation! And I don't think he knew the sword was behind him. Did you see that? The Nuruk threw his Eldritch Might in the bush behind.
Yes.
And Falstad stayed there, which showed that he didn't have vision of it.
Exactly. So a very nice pickup here by Team myinsani, really showing that they're not afraid to fight the big names. ROCCAT and Radix now in the mid lane trying to clear these waves, but you can see that Whoopi, Crosby, they're not letting go. They're trying to push this and trying to get a little bit of an advantage going here.
Look at that talent for level 7 Jaina, going for that cooldown reduction on the Frostbolt. I believe it's called Frost Shards.
Frost Shards.
Every time you hit it, -2 seconds on the cooldown.
Yeah. Oh, it's Ice Lance to pierce through.
Ice Lance.
Ice Lance, there we go.
There we go.
Second tribute now on the way.
Interesting level 4 by Tyrael as well, going for Vampiric Strike. It's not usual. Usually amp heal.
You go for amplified healing, exactly.
It shows he wants to be more independent, allowing Whoopi to focus healing other people like Karazim and so on.
He's an independent warrior, don't need no...
Independent Archangel of Justice.
So, second tribute, or third tribute actually, goes to Team ROCCAT,
who are looking very close to level 10. Thanks to that global presence, it's really the power of Brightwing and Falstad here. Brightwing never came. And I got a tower here, almost the second one, level 10. Are they going to use it? Brightwing can pop in anytime. Look for her to maybe port on
Nice
Jaina
gravity
here.
lapse there, actually. Nurk now in a little bit of trouble, but is he going to get away? Eldrin's Smite should be still available, but there we go. Ring of Frost, level 10 hit here by Team Rocket, and it is enough to pop the turret eventually. So that was very unexpected. Of course, you always have to estimate when the opposing team is going to hit level 10, and if you aren't level 10 by that time, you better get the hell out of there.
Yeah, but it's hard, right? Are you going to give up all positions on every lane? Because there's two heroes who can do that, Valstad and Brightwing. And now, with the increased death timers, this guarantees a boss.
Yeah.
It might not have done so in the past. Oh, wow.
They're actually not going for it. Probably a little bit too risky because it's so close to the respawn locations here from Team mYi.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get it, but it's just about the worst position, isn't it? Enemy boss.
You don't want to risk it, especially if you can get the curse with that great mobility here. Hazuops flying in with a faucet, even barrel rolling over the rocks. Very nicely done here.
I think Murden's too late, isn't he? Oh.
Yeah.
No, he's on time, he's on time!
He actually interrupted it, but Brightwing coming in with a phase shift. Grandpacetti here really on point, helping his buddy out. Now ETC going in, face melt, trying to do as much as he can, but it's not going to be enough. I think things are going to slow down a little bit. Teams want to get in position now to be in a good spot for the tribute. Now we go Mighty Gust flying away. I think it was popped a little bit too early though.
With the cancel, Wobby still channeling. Redex will cancel that, but is in a very risky position. Uses Archon to try and keep himself alive. Moshpit is helping with that as well.
Nice
Beautiful Divine Palm by Wobby.
Nice Divine Palm here. Really good save, but the fight is still kicking. Both teams haven't lost a single team member. Are they going to make it though? Here we go. Sake going down. Oh my lord, that was a close team fight, but looks like mYi has the upper hand, also prevents Team Rocket from getting the third tribute, and this is really important to not lose, the momentum here in the early game.
I think Team ROCCAT can be can feel very elated and lucky that they only lost one hero. Everyone was down to 10% life.
And even though ETC went for a very defensive build here, having the proc rock talent and other self-defending talents, it wasn't enough. And I'm starting to wonder whether the protection that Tassadar and Brightwing offer for a single warrior is going to be enough for Socket to live a little bit longer.
Well, it always helps when the enemies cannot attack you back. So good bush pits are going to be of paramount importance, as they usually are. Nurk here doesn't want to let them get the boss, but it's more of a time-wasting effort than really stealing it. No holy ground yet.
Exactly. Scouting information a little bit, maybe see how nervous the opponents react, but of course he couldn't really prevent them. Also buying a little bit time, causing the enemy team to take a little bit longer for their own boss, while his teammates, of course, are busy doing theirs in the bottom half of the map. There we go. They secured the boss. Very important to balance that one out, because if you get into a Golem pincer on Cursed Hollow, things are going to go really bad.
Yeah, sometimes the capture of the boss guaranteed the second one, because the opponents would take a very passive stance to it, like, oh, try to defend that one, failed, now we have to defend it, you'll get the next one as well. Nowadays, even if you're down 1 or 2 and you see the enemy is 5-man taking their own boss, just take your own, because it'll be enough time. You can't be hesitant in this.
Yeah.
Oh, what? That was
weird.
weird.
Hazuops going in very ballsy here, taking a lot of damage from the Kel'Thas Living Bomb, but manages to get away safely here. Hypershift really doing work for Grandpacetti. Now Sanctification going down. Redex popped the Archon. Is it going to be enough though? The tribute is still on for the taking. 2-2. The next team is going to get that curse.
It's quite cool, actually, the choice of Archon here. Like, the value of Force Wall is undeniable, but considering the opponent has 4 melee heroes, the splash damage of Archon does more than it normally would.
Yes. Now here we go. Sake once again trying to body block for his teammates.
Oh, Divine Bomb too soon. Ring of Frost will miss, but it's providing a chill.
Down. And that's when you see, you don't have that bakery accuracy. You actually use it a little bit too early. And if the enemy team manages to adjust themselves accordingly, they just don't ignore it and stop all damage and wait patiently to take the Murden down.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's a 1 out of 2 now. 1 Divine Palm hit really, really well, and 1 missed. And it can mean the difference between a death here or there. And they also get the curse as well. So very valuable push in time here, especially with that global. Look at all that XP he's getting so easily. And
really nice.
Juicy seasoned marksman stacks.
Yeah. I would take that. So, and you can really see that a curse is especially powerful in the early and mid game. The more keeps fall and the more forts fall, the less impactful a curse is going to be, because you can defend the base a lot easier like that.
Yeah, think of it as a city wall with a lot of area to defend. It's so difficult to spread out your forces.
Exactly.
But the more you fall back to the inner ramparts, it becomes more and more easy to concentrate your defenses. 2 forts down already, 3 because of the top boss as well. Kind of an early eulogy, but that fort is certainly going to die.
So
Trust me.
Although Tassadar went for the Archon, building himself a little bit more aggressively, he still went for the deep shift at 13.
Yeah.
So we don't see the, we don't see Shrink Ray or any other shenanigans trying to come in here.
I mean, it's so hard to argue against prescience and dimensional warp because they work together so well. It's like two 50% heals on himself with increased movement speed. So much utility, chasing people down, running away, etc.
It is really good. It is really good. Now we see, Team ROCCAT, Radix and Sport Billy securing the Siege Giant camp, and almost a mirror move for mYinsanity. It really shows how these players, they take their time to clear the mercenary camp when it's due. You always want to make sure to take mercenary camps before or shortly before a tribute spawns.
Ideally.
Yeah, ideally.
But now it's like completely the opposite case. It's right after, and anytime a curse is over, the next tribute doesn't come in the usual time. It actually takes like 2 minutes before the next new tribute comes again. Kind of calm after the storm.
Now, of course, mYinsanity, they're 1 level behind and also 1 talent behind, so they should really avoid to look for any major engagements here before not closing this gap in terms of talents.
Wobby isn't even killing the Siege Giants here because he knows the enemy's on the prowl. They just need 20 seconds more or so, 2 more minion waves, or maybe that mercenary wave there. Defend the middle fort and they will get equal talents at least.
Yeah, and I see double. Oh, there we go. No, Phoenix is just gonna zone them away for now.
Okay, mYinsanity's ready, almost.
Yeah, they just need to hold on a tiny little bit longer.
And Blumby, is he gonna jump in? Look at that bird in.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I mean, what I really like about Team ROCCAT in this game is that they forced mYinsanity into the defense here. It forced them to take double spell shield, for example. If you are ahead with such an aggressive comp and such an engaging comp, you can actually go and capitalize on that by picking more aggressive talents. But in this game, that's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah, we were quite wrong in the analysis of the strategy here. Team ROCCAT is, I mean, they're kind of playing the map, is it not?
Yeah.
They're not just looking at team fights saying, should we be aggressive, should we be defensive? They're actually winning this one by experience.
There you go,
and
hammering.
it's very smart. Expectable, actually, from such smarty pants as ROCCAT and Hazelops and so on.
There we go. We really can see once more the value that is Kala's Embrace, by the way. You can really see that all team members constantly have that tiny little shield. But if you sum it up during the whole course of the game, it really helps.
It's like 500 shield on everyone.
Yeah. Now again, this curse, this tribute could actually be very,
That's the difference whether the ETC is solo tank or double. He power slide backwards. You'll always see a power slide forwards in a double warrior comp.
So the isolation attempt here, not really well done.
Dark Mork misses his Ancient Spear. Eldrin's Might coming in there.
Holy Ground not really doing a whole lot. So we can see a lot of heroic abilities, a lot of abilities not really hitting as they should have. I mean, Hazelop's using the Mighty Gust here as some sort of disengage tool, but a little bit too early. Now he doesn't have it ready. ETC going in socket. Ring of Frost not hitting anyone here. And ETC once again on the retreat. He can't really feel the aggressiveness.
Mosh pit. Is there a gravity lapse? No gravity lapse yet. It's a 3-man mosh pit.
Wow, that was actually really good. Tyrael dying very early on in the game. Jaina Ice Block popped to prevent further damage. Mighty Gust, such a low cooldown. It's ready again.
Yeah, it's crazy, but what happened here is ETC so far forward, he got the mosh pit, but they were unable to follow up on it. It is actually turning out to be a bit of a disaster as Brightwing tried to save a doomed ETC, went down against the gravity lapse from Crosby, well timed there, and now suddenly, with the curse...
And there is no way Sport Billy can hope to survive here. The keep is not going to help them because it's not firing. The curse is active. I think this could be game.
They could finish the game. It's a 4 versus 1 for 15 seconds.
And you can really see how mYinsanity played that extremely well. They used their advantage, they pressured forward, and they exploded when they... It is incredible.
This is crazy. ETC is going to come back. I don't think he will be able to protect it, actually. 40%. No, that's probably going to be it. Mighty Gust, though.
Not enough here.
There's too much HP.
And Crosby, they're coming back. They want to finish this. And looks like they do. GG.
Crazy. Well done by mYinsanity, who take the first map here of the second match of the day. It's crazy. They almost lost with the XP advantage.
Yeah, and times we saw that mYi was struggling to come back. They were behind 1 or 2 levels for the most time of the game, but you know, they just took that short moment and exploded.
Well, they certainly chose the right time to peak here.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were practically losing all game and won a single fight. Now, I'm not going to say, oh, wow, you can just win a single fight anytime and just win the game like that in Heroes of the Storm. That is not true. But the situation was crafted beautifully. They were about to take their own tribute, which would lead to a curse, and then...
And let's be honest, they not only did they have fortune on their side, but they planned this. They took talents like Spell Shield to counter the damage coming in from the enemy spellcasters. So I think they adapted really well and just waited for their chance to strike back.
Yeah. I mean, looking at that game, how it played out there, I think it looked as if both teams had a really hard time of engaging properly into one another. It's always difficult to engage really hard into a triple warrior lineup, I think. And then overall, even though they did get their experience advantage from having all the lane soak, didn't quite carry through because they were never able to get the initiate that they wanted onto that kind of warrior setup. Is that something that kind of stood out to you, or?
Did it stand out to you?
You.
I mean, yeah, they don't have the hard engage comp. The only the way that, of course, Team ROCCAT would like to have any fight start is by making it seem like they're in the disadvantage and then winning a skirmish. Like, I think they excelled in skirmishes. 1v1s, 2v2s, 2v1s becoming 3v2s, that kind of thing. But like being eager to do a 5v5, not exactly. And that's what's happening here in this 5 versus 5. This mosh pit is pretty good.
We've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of good mosh pits, but I actually lost fights in the end.
It's weird, right?
That's a first. Like in my Hero League games, this mosh pit lands and it's over 1 minute later.
Can we see this one again, this replay? Like from the start?
You don't finish warriors anywhere near as quickly as you would do, be it like a ranged assassin in that kind of situation. So you have a Tyrael there that, yes, dies eventually, but everybody else is very healthy, and once you're in that kind of melee zone, it's very difficult.
Do you think they should have just walked past the Tyrael in a matter of a second and then just take down the other guys? Because Tyrael, his Archangel's Wrath explosion did a lot.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, that is also a very tricky part, but it was almost sad to see ROCCAT die that quickly. I really think that he could have maybe needed more support behind his back as a single warrior. And I'm also not sure if one warrior as a frontliner is enough to stop that onslaught coming in from a triple engage comp.
I think that's a good point.
I think he could have taken imposing presence, though. Like, he had the speed metal. It's my favorite talent at the tier as well. It's really great to kind of position in and out of the fight with the bonus movement speed. But when you mosh pit, does it matter how fast you are before or after it? Like, he was practically walking in the middle of all the enemies and doing a mosh pit. It wasn't movement speed that got him there. It's usually a power slide or something. And you're not rotating in and out of battle either with your secondary warrior. I think when you're the solo one, you've got to take imposing presence, and maybe that would have helped.
Maybe there was a good idea behind ROCCAT's composition, but the execution wasn't there. But like in general, it felt like their composition was a little bit like awkward, unusual, and
it was like
pretty hard to pull off.
It was like map control, right? Like map control XP advantage, but the fights were like almost there.
Maybe they kind of wanted to draw the game out for as long as possible, avoid fights, and just kind of capitalize on the idea that level 20 comes along.
There goes the Hazu jokes. He loves to play longer games.
Do you
any game.
Twisted Meadows, Gargoyles. But the problem with Cursed Hollow, the objective doesn't win games for you.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe Emerald Wind could have changed things here? I mean, we talked about it before the draft. Do you think another disengage tool would have changed anything?
It is really good, but probably, like, usually it's like Brightwing who becomes a very dangerous liability because she cannot save herself with Blink Heal.
Yeah. And without Blink Heal also, like, the rest of your team's gonna die very quickly. Like, it makes it much harder to keep them or anybody alive.
But it's almost like, it's almost maybe not even that crazy because the Blink Heal on ETC is almost always gonna get Brightwing killed.
I have a question, guys, in theory. If you have to go up against that composition yourself, what would you ideally like to remove from that composition? I have my own theories, but I would love to hear from you guys.
From the warrior comp of Team
From what we saw from them, having Kael'thas, the triple warriors, and the healer.
Probably Tyrael?
Probably Tyrael?
That's what you thought.
Because remember we were in that phase in the draft where, I mean, there were no more bans left, but it was like, they're going to get a single support. And Sonya, just like melee assassins, is one that benefits from 1.5 to 2 or plus supports. So Tyrael was the only one left who was able to provide that. So if they got a third ban, it would have gone to Tyrael, I guess.
Any other thoughts?
I think they executed it really nicely, but I really think that Uther is a key component of this comp. Sonya, I'm not sure if it would have worked with a melee assassin like, say, Illidan or Thrall. So it's really hard to say what part you can exchange, and this makes this team comp a lot more predictable, right? If you see a Sonya coming in, you can actually expect a very similar playstyle.
For me, looking at it, it's almost going back to what we saw in the first series of protect the Kayle Thas, where he's never going to be touched ever, has free reign over whatever he wants to do, and is churning out big numbers of damage. But regardless, guys, I mean, let's move that to one side.
Really quickly.
As we have Kayle Thas picked as the first pick again. Surprise, surprise. And exactly the same bans, actually, on either side, guys.
Yeah, so no secondary supports here. We can call them primary supports these days, but still, they often feature in double support comps, which means that the only secondary support is going to be Abathur or Tyrael. If you look at like main healers, Abathur offers some shielding, and Tyrael offers some shielding.
Yeah, now we're playing on Dragonshire, by the way, so map is a little bit smaller. You know, distances between lanes aren't really as large as they are on Cursed Hollow, so this might play into the hands of mYinsanity, and it could be that they play mind games here with Team ROCCAT. You know, signalizing the Kel'Thas could lure them to assuming that they want to go for the same comp when they, in fact, aren't really trying to do that.
Lane control read, shrine control is going to be very important here on this map. And we've seen Uther actually being able to, I guess, achieve some really nice Drake captures when the shrines are not being contested with the Divine Shield. With the newer cooldown, though, might feel like a lot more of usage, or even, I would say, waste at times if you have to use this. So they're going to have to be careful here, ROCCAT, to definitely take that into consideration. But ETC and Uther, not too shabby a way to open a draft.
It's a good way, you're right. A lot of the teams, I was saying before this tournament, you know, they've really prioritized these two picks because it is such a powerful combination. On the other side, though, what does get given away? It's going to be Karazim to start things off, and then do they now just build their warriors around this, what they already had in the previous game?
Yeah, I don't think mYinsanity will be taking like something like Jaina or Falstad here. Like doing mass assassin picks at the beginning is a bit risky. You would miss out on warriors.
Yeah.
Myrddin makes a lot of sense here. Tyrael is definitely not too bad here. I think mYinsanity will be banning away something like Jaina later, by the way, to prevent massive amounts of follow-up on Mosh Pit Divine Shield. So that's for the next step.
Yeah, I agree. I think Myrddin makes most sense.
I mean, if they want to go down a similar composition of those warriors, the Raynor Pit ban could come in again.
Oh, wow. Grubby's wrong.
Goodbye.